Hey up YouTube, welcome back to the plot and welcome to my channel. I'm going to do a new intro because there's a lot of new people here, so bear with me please. Here on my channel you follow along my allotment journey, my mistakes, my successes, the way I do things versus the way that other people do things, all those sorts of fun and games. We do all sorts of stuff. Today we're going to look at one, maybe two ways of planting a couple of things directly outside at the end of October, early November. So I'll see you in a sec. Don't forget, if all that sounds like good fun, like, share and subscribe, please. It really helps me out, especially that like button. And don't forget, I do try and engage with every comment made, so talk to me in the comments section down below. Right, so out there today we're going to be planting broad beans directly. These are Aqua Dulce Claudia from growseed.co.uk. There's about 50 in here. We're going to see how many we get out. To be honest, I'll probably get nearly all of them out. So they're going to be going out today. Direct sown, nothing fancy. The other thing we're going to be sowing today is some snowball onion sets. I will give you a bit of a close-up on some of these things, guys, but I say I've not opened anything yet. So, and these are white. They're not pearl onions. They're going to be a full-size onion next year, but these are a white onion. Those of you that have spent some time in the States, or like me, are a bit of a foodie, a bit of a chef, and sort of try and pay attention to food trends, these little white onions, when you're watching food shows from America and things like that, and they use white onions fresh in salads and on things like hot dogs, on burgers, things like that, it's these they're using. It's a variety called Snowball. The other reason I've gone for these Snowball variety is out of all the winter onions, your radars, your senshus, your electrics, it's well known that those things don't keep that well. You know what I've just realised? I've not using my microphone. I'll switch to my microphone outside. I'm not going to re-record all this because I'll miss a load. Yeah, sorry, these white onions are the things that they're using in their cooking. They're a medium sweet onion. And unlike the other traditional overwintering onions that we have in this country, the senshus, the electrics and the radars, like I've already said, these will actually keep. Now they won't keep as well as your spring planted bulbs, but they will keep better than the senshus, the Japanese overwintering onions and things like that. So, you know, with these, I'm not afraid to plant quite a lot of them. These are from DT Brown's. I do have an order in with Grow Seed as well, but these were the first to arrive and I want to get them in the ground. Also from DT Brown's is some Provence white garlic bulbs. Now, I've looked through the net on these and I must admit, I say I've not opened them yet. They only came yesterday. Not sponsored, by the way. Grow Seed is a channel sponsor, but these I bought with my own money. Oh no, in actual, I was a bit concerned actually. You see that purple marking? I don't know if it's showing up on camera. Through the netting it looked like bruising. But I'm not going to open these up until I'm ready to plant them out. And the garlic is going to be the last thing because I'm actually not too sure where it's going yet. So a lot's going to come down to how much space I've got left after I've planted these and the onions. So without further ado, guys, we'll get out in the garden. I've prepared a bit of space. I'll talk you through what I've done out there when we're out there. So I'll see you out there in a sec. A quick one while I'm down here with the onions and garlic that I've just planted. If you enjoy this kind of video where we go along together with an allotment journey on how I do things, the way I'm going to do things, and you learn from my mistakes or you replicate my mistakes, we're all in it for the laugh, eh? Please do press that like button, please do press that subscribe button, and please do share the video to your family, to your friends, to your Facebook. It's brilliant. It helps me out of wonders. Okay guys, so what we're going to start with today, as you can see from my shadow, I'm going to start from behind the camera. What we're going to start with today are these Aquadulce Claudia broad beans. Didn't see that this packaging had been heat sealed. Give me a sec. Now on a broad bean, and this is going to seem like complete and utter stupidity that I'm explaining this, but you know, there is a top and a bottom. Now you can see, hopefully, if it focuses. Hang on. Come on. Right, you see, kind of, on the broad bean, you've got a smooth side, and then you've got a side with a nodule in it. Try and plant your broad beans with that nodule down. What that will then do is it'll hopefully prevent rotting off, because water's not then going to pool on the surface of the bean. But that's where your root's going to come from. That little split in the bottom is the first part that's going to open up on this seed. So what we're going to do is we're going to get them in. We're going to go for about twice the depth of the seed down. So we're going to go about 1.5 inches deep. I'm going to be using a dibber, and then I'll rake the soil back over the top. But we'll get these in, and I'll come back to you once we've done. Really, there's not a great deal to talk about when it comes to putting things in the ground, I tend to find. But that's the way we're going to do it. So we're going to try and do them vertically that way in this patch of ground down here. Now, one or two of the things I did actually forget to mention is that, yes, I'm going for about 1.5 inches deep, and I'm going to go for a spacing of about 8 inches between each bean. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to dib all my holes as straight as I can. So that just helps make weeding easier. And I'm just going to drop the beans in once I've done the holes. So we'll get that done first. One of the interesting things about growing broad beans, or field beans as I believe they're called in the States, is when it comes time to pull them, or when it comes time to take the plants out, when they're finished providing you with beans, don't take the plant out. Chop it up. Leave the roots in. What you'll find when it comes time to take them out is your roots will be covered in little nodules, and what those nodules are pure plant-based nitrogen. So they will actually, because broad beans are one of the few plants that create their own nitrogen. So don't pull them out, or if you do, leave the roots and the greenery on the surface. Whilst it won't return everything it's taken out of the soil, it will certainly return a large percentage. dig it out so that I know it's a planted space, and we'll move on to the onions and garlic if I can find what I've done with my rake. Here, rakey, rakey, rakey. Now then, ladies and gents, onions. Where are we? There we are. So onions, obviously you've got quite an obvious direction of planting. We've got a basil plate on the bottom, that's where your roots are going to come out of. And then you've got sort of the tufty bit on the top. Some people say trim them. I'm not going to bother. There we go, that's a bigger sort of size, isn't it? Easier to see. If you find any in your packet that are a little bit soft, you want your onion sets to be nice and firm. But if you find any in your packet that are a little bit soft, I'm trying to go through my packet and find some, but I'm not succeeding. But if you find any that are a little bit soft, discard them. Don't plant them, they'll just rot in situ. Now with your onions, you'll find there's a lot of different sort of contrasting information. But what I do is I will plant them completely submerged, so that tail there, or not tail, sorry, that haircut, that hair there, the top of it is underground. The reason for that is you'll find that if birds can see these sticking up, they'll come and they'll tug out all your onion sets thinking that they are worms. You don't want that. Now I'm probably not going to record all of this, so I'm going to get a row in down here because I'm running out of space on my phone here because I've forgotten my tripod stand for my GoPro. Silly me. So I'm going to get this row in down here and then I'll come back to you once I've done all of it. But I'm not going to just shove them in the ground. I will be dibbing them in the ground as well, as you'll see. So yeah, we'll crack on with that. Now the important thing to remember when it comes to your onions is space. You may think, oh, it's just an onion. How much space does it need? Well, for starters, excuse me a second. For starters, onions are deceptively hungry plants. They take quite a lot of feeding. So what I've got here is freshly manured ground that nothing's been grown in since it was manured. And secondly, the thing is, you want to be able to get in between them. They don't like competition. They don't like fighting for food with weeds. So you can go as little as 6 inch by 6 inch apart. I will be going slightly more than that, at around about, once again, like I did with the broad beans, about 8 inches apart. So let's get this row planted. I'll come back to you when it's done and we'll discuss what I think I'm going to do with the garlic. I've not made my mind up yet, but I've got a lot of onion sets to plant, so we'll get these in the ground. Plenty of time to decide. Then, ladies and gentlemen, garlic. Pull my britches up, eh? Now, I've ummed and ahed about how I was going to plant my garlic this year. I was adamant I wasn't using any beds. But then when me and Mrs. Shed, or should I say when I made the decision and Mrs. Shed agreed, so when she made the decision really, that we were going to take out the spring bulbs out of these beds. Will you stop it? You know, this chicken is having my life today. It's after me garlic. She's already been after me onions. She's in heavy malt. Ain't you, girl? Eh? Anyway, garlic. Don't separate, first things first, don't separate your cloves until you're ready to plant them. It all helps. And then what we're going to do is we'll have a look at the cloves. Now this is Provence White. This is a soft neck variety. The reason I choose... Get it away, you! Here, go eat that. The reason I choose a soft neck variety is for platting. It's easier to plat. So how many cloves we got here? Because we're going to put them straight in. So yeah, me and Mrs. Shed were umming and ahhing, or I was umming and ahhing for ages about where I was going to plant the garlic. Because I was adamant I wasn't going to use any bed space for alliums this year. But then, when we agreed that we were going to take the spring bulbs out of these beds, that's a lot of little cloves. I thought, you know what? I've got nothing really that's going to need these beds, so I'll use these. So garlic, don't worry about cleaning it. You're not peeling it, that's for damn sure. Like onions, you've got a bottom, the basal plate that was connected to the root of your bulb, and then you've got the pointy bit at the top, and that's where you're going to get your fresh growth from. Now, some YouTubers will say, there you go, there's your garlic planted. In this bed, that's not a problem. This is nice, open, free draining soil. But as you've just seen on my ground, where I've put the onions, I dibbed the holes first. That's because that's a heavy clay soil. If you were to do this on a heavy clay soil, you'll impact underneath your garlic and it'll struggle to grow. But this is a nice open free draining soil, so I'm not going to worry. I'm going to push them straight in. If you're not too confident, always dib them. Always dib them if you're not too confident. If you think, oh well, my soil's a little bit tough, dib them. But I'm going for about 6 to 8 inch spacing on these, same as pretty much everything else I've done today. And that's between rows and cloves. I'm going for very similar spacing. I am doing them quite close together. I'm not bothered about getting giant cloves of garlic. I'm happy with 20 or 30 little cloves. It'll all cook the same. It'll all taste the same. And that's it. That's my garlic planted, and we've got what? Those 2 cloves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, potentially 17 more garlic plants. All I'm going to do is, as with all the others, I'm going to cover them over. I do not leave them exposed. And garlic really is as simple as that. That is my garlic, Provence White, DT Brown, planted. All this planting I am doing on Daylight Savings Day, which I think, was it, what we on, the 25th of October. The garlic was from DT Brown's, the onion sets were from DT Brown's, and I only discarded 1 onion set from that bag. So I'm quite happy with that compared to previous years using other suppliers such as Marshall's. 1 onion set. I'm very happy with that, in fact. But that's it. This soil is very rich. It's been manured. It's been fed. I'm going to put just a thin layer of compost over the top, just as an added mulch. But aside from that, that's my garlic planted. They are covered. They are about 10 mil, so about a centimetre beneath the surface. And what you'll find, if you were in open soil, like where I've done my onions, the natural ebb and flow of the soil will bring those bulbs to the surface. But in a raised bed, that's not really the case. So I haven't gone, because normally in the soil I would go a clove's depth deep. So you'd be talking over about 1 inch deep. In this raised bed, by the time I've got the compost on, you're going to be about 3/4 of an inch deep. So I'll go get that and we'll get it on now. So I'll be back in a sec. Oh. This, as with everything else I've used, is just some potato compost. I was going to do the overwintering carrots in, but they all got eaten by something. So, use the soil here. Turns out, guys, that this bucket didn't just have soil in it. I don't know what that is. We'll get it out of the way. Looks like seed tape, to be honest. I don't think it is. I think it's remnants of a plastic bag. This bucket actually had a load of alpaca manure in the bottom of it. So that's actually really, really good. That'll break down and that'll feed these garlic right the way through until next spring. Okay, guys, well, that is us. No, that is me done filming for today. So that's onions, garlic and broad beans all planted. What I would like to remind everybody, if you're doing overwintering onions, garlic and broad beans, as well as anything else you may well be overwintering, is do remember that that space is going to be tied up until around about June or July next year. So there's two things really you can do. Either, you know, bank on that space being unavailable until June, July next year. There are crops you can plant after it. It's not too late in the season. Or you can sort of widen your spacings a little bit and plan to do some interplanting. What I hope to do next year, in actual fact, with my onions that I plant in spring, or my shallots that I plant in spring, or both, is I'm going to put an extra few inches between the rows, and then I'm going to interplant with things like beetroot, spinach, radish, things like that. I'm going to interplant between the rows, reducing down the amount of wasted space. But we'll talk about that next year. The channel, as we are going into winter, I'm going to probably end up reducing the amount of videos that I publish. For two reasons. One is, hopefully, I'm finally going to be starting hobby number 2, which is going to be sea fishing. That will also be on a separate channel. I'll talk more about that once I've got that started. The other reason is, there's only so much that goes on in winter on the allotment. You see, I've started, the timber's actually 90%, 99% cut for the chicken run. That is going to be my big winter project this year. It's not going to be the polytunnel like I had hoped, although the design for that is pretty much finalised. And I'll start pricing it and things like that over this winter, with a view to hopefully building it next winter. But the big build this winter is going to be the chicken run. We've got 99% of the timber, we've got it cut, it just needs painting. So that's going to be coming up shortly. I'm going to talk in next week's video. I'm going to do a jobs for November. It won't be a short one because there isn't very much to do in November, depending on what's on your allotment. We're also going to be doing in next week, at some point next week, is going to be the Kitchen Garden and Grow Your Own magazine review for this month's issues, or for the coming issues. So that'll be probably next week. They tend to come out around about this time, so hopefully they'll be in the stores next week and I'll be able to get them to show you. And that's it. That's going to be it. So the videos are probably going to slow down. I mean, I can come and I can give you a plot tour every week and show you the same things. At the end of the day, when it comes to winter, even things like little gem lettuce that grows in 6 weeks, once you're into winter, that 6 weeks becomes 12. So the amount of growth that's happening at this time of year is so negligible that even plot tours are redundant. So we're probably going to go to weekly, if not fortnightly gardening videos. If I've got something worth recording, then it will be released. You may well have spotted that I'm doing my presence on Facebook has got a lot less. I'm not publishing as much or promoting as much on Facebook. It's only due to the reason is that that's never really what I wanted to do. It never gives you a true figure. So I'm starting to wind that back now. As I'm safely over the 1,000, which is brilliant. I'm loving the community tab. I'm going to start doing lives, probably as I tend to do lives in the wind up to the season. So when we're starting seed sowing and things like that, I tend to go live then. So keep an eye out for them. The only way you're going to really know about them is if you press that subscribe button, press that little bell icon at the side of the subscribe button and make sure you select all. That will make sure that YouTube, or should make sure that YouTube tells you when I publish something. I always put a banner up or a placeholder up for my live shows, so you always know when they're coming. And they tend to be a chilled out affair. We just sit and have a chat. I do some seed sowing. We talk about seedlings. We talk about how I'm going to grow things. So it tends to be a very chilled out affair. So yeah, make sure you press that subscribe button. Make sure you click all at the side of it. If you're here at the end of the video, brilliant. I love you. You're great. You're really helping me out. Make sure you press that thumbs up button if you are subscribed. Another quick thing about subscription. I am getting around about 40% of my viewers are subscribed, 60% are not. I appreciate a lot of you don't want to sign up for YouTube, but remember, if you use a Gmail account, you already have a YouTube account. So if you just press login and click login with Google, it's all the same stuff. So, you know, if you don't, if that's how you feel, that you don't feel like going through a sign up procedure, if you're already a Google account holder, be it through Google Chrome, Gmail, or even Facebook, I think, you can just press login and you can select one of those to log you in. There is no sign up procedure. So please press that subscribe button if you can. That's it. I'll see you later.